How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to go over the updates that I have for the Archmage Hierophant Ice Nova build. We did end up basically farming out to get Headhunter, and these are the changes we kind of made in order to actually fit that into the build. So we are losing some of the res and the attributes that we are getting from that we lost with Bisco's Leash, but we did end up just basically getting it. We are getting the decks from Headhunter, and then we are no longer requiring inspired learning. So what we do have is that we are now able to get our stats here. Let's actually just go into PoE. It's probably easier to pull it here. And we can go ahead and show this here. So what ended up happening is we were able to basically add in extra block because we are no longer running inspired learning, because we're now running the Headhunter, so we don't need the inspired learning buff anymore. So we were able to actually replace that with a replica reckless defense, and this is what we're actually using to push ourselves all the way to block cap here. And then we did end up swapping our gloves over to Shadows and Dust from Hands of the High Templar with the Crusader gloves, which are obviously going to be harder to get. So when it comes to going to Shadows and Dust, you do have quite a few different options here. So the Hands of the High Templar should be more damage overall, but something we are actually doing here is I am actually just focusing on getting my two curses from this. And then in our Svalin, we are running a Wave of Conviction here. We're still running the Frost Bomb, and then we're running a Conductivity. I did want to run Elemental Weakness in the Svalin, but it doesn't have an elemental tag. I figured elemental weakness would have it, but elemental weakness, it just doesn't for whatever reason. So I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I would expect it to have a tag, but it doesn't. So we are still running Punishment and Assassin's Mark here. And then on the gloves, I was testing between basically running a few different pairs of the gloves. So like I had one with Temporal Chains and Enfeeble. That was when I figured I could still actually run that I could still get away with running the elemental weakness and the shield. I don't feel like giving it punishment. I mean, I guess you can just run these and run elemental weakness instead of punishment here. And I was also testing these compared to a pair with the spell crit still. Overall, the crit that is losing, or that we're changing here in PoB, is going from 75% down to 70%. So it's not that big of a difference. So we don't really have to worry about that. In regards to when it comes to a stat or a scepter versus a wand, we were actually noticing that, or I was actually noticing that when it comes to buying new things, you can actually get yourself a wand. Is going to be kind of expensive, but you can actually get yourself a staff, or a scepter rather, for much less. For much less of the cost of a wand, right? So these are the wands that I ended up picking up. I haven't even finished crafting this yet. This one, like the suffixes are already done. So we can always craft this or multi-mode craft this if we want to decide to finish it that way. Or just an interim, we can literally just craft spell damage on this and just call it good. But the biggest things that you are kind of going to get with this, so if you see, this is what the cost right here for a scepter here. Doesn't really cost very much for just high cast speed and crit, and basically some lightning spell damage. So that's going to cover all spell damage or just spell damage. You can see if we actually swap this to a wand, the price goes up quite a bit, right? So for a wand, these are 15 divines, and if I just swap it over to a scepter, you're looking at, again, 100 to 200 C, right? If we lower this just slightly, it'll basically make it probably quite a bit more, should pop up, other things like that. But the idea basically being that what you are actually getting out of this, right? If you continue to lower this, you're going to start to see some that are going to be significantly cheaper. So the first people to see this video that are looking to get into this cheap are going to be able to start saving themselves a ton of money. So the number one thing is wands are just going to be more sought after right now because of people thinking about the possessed enchant. But what I can show you here in the city is that for everyone else that isn't basically using a wand or a scepter that is, you know, worth 100 divine enchant, you're just going to end up enchanting lightning bolt on here instead. So the thing with the scepters is you can enchant this with the lightning bolt the same way that you can with the wands, right? So given we're going to be using the same enchant, you can actually get the same thing with a scepter for much cheaper. Same thing goes if you are trying to buy a fractured scepter. You're going to be able to buy yourself a fractured scepter with fractured mana for a significantly less amount of money than what you're going to be able to buy a fractured wand for. So while I'm going over a video on how to basically, or what to do with your build for having a Headhunter, I'm also kind of covering here, again, how to get into this build for less money if you are trying to get into it for less money, because there are other options out there. So yeah, swapping over to Shadows and Dust, though, over the Hands of the High Templar, I still wanted to keep Rampage just because I really enjoy it, and I think it's really good. Yeah, basically swapped over to Shadows and Dust. You don't need to run these. It's probably better damage if you can actually find gloves that have different mods on them. Wanting to use Rampage is just personal preference. I enjoy the movement speed from it. I enjoy the cast speed or attack speed from it. And then I just enjoy, you know, Rampage explosions and everything. It feels good. So that's pretty much what changed. The wand itself is going to change here as soon as I finish crafting one of these scepters here. We haven't really decided, but yeah, we can kind of showcase the Atlas and stuff that I ended up using to finish this. Was the one that I don't remember if I went over it before yesterday. I was running the same Delirium shell here with Delirium of Neuroses, but I did end up swapping points into like basically the top hat for Scarabs over here, and then the I did end up basically picking up the nodes for Bestiary. I'm probably going to drop these though. I think out of all of it, I ended up getting, it was only like 30 Bestiary. It was only 30 Bestiary maps basically. I did the 30 INR missions for the challenges. I think out of that I ended up getting one Black Morgan, one Vivid Watcher, which was like 175C, and like two, I don't remember which even what it was, but two other things that were like Ferrocliffe Alphas or something that were 70C per. They weren't Ferrocliffe Alphas. I don't remember the name of them, but whatever they were 70C per. So it wasn't anything major from the value on those. The value, it definitely was coming more so from Alva, just because every 3 maps or so, you are getting a temple that is, you know, if you're looking at the Corruption temples, those are like 90C per. And then the temples for Dorianis are like 60C per. So it's kind of hard to miss entirely. I guess I did miss twice out of 4 times that I ran it. So maybe it's only about a 50% chance that you're getting something good. I don't know. I haven't tested it enough. I will start running that strat maybe here a little bit more. I haven't really decided what I want to do with the Atlas. So, but yeah, I figured I want to give you guys the updates of what's changed since the last video. I know I've had a lot of questions about it in the other build. So, yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And other than that, see you in the next one.